The Noah's Ark Tiger. Now, one day, when Tiptoe the fairy doll went walking down to the town to do some shopping, she found everyone most excited. "What's the matter?" asked Tiptoe. "The tiger has escaped with the Noah's Ark," cried Bruiny the bear. "He is prowling about, frightening everybody. If only we could find him, we could catch him and take him back." "Oh, look, there's Mr. Noah," said Mr. To-and-fro the wobbly man. "He knows all about it." Mr. Noah was wooden, and came from the big Noah's Ark that stood on the other side of the hill where Tiptoe and Jolly lived. He looked very cross. "I've told that tiger before that he's not to go wandering about," he said. "You see, when I took the animals out for their walk last night, all going 2 by 2 as usual, I didn't notice that there was anybody missing when I took them all back to the Ark. I shut down the lid, and we all went to sleep. And now I hear that the tiger is wandering about, scaring everybody." "I'm not afraid of a wooden tiger," said the captain of the soldiers, waving his shining sword. "Neither am I," said the clockwork clown, turning head over heels. "Well, I am," said Tiptoe. "I never did like tigers very much. They're like big cats with sharp claws. Oh, I hope I don't meet him." Nobody found the tiger that day, but lots of people were quite sure they had heard him roaring somewhere. Mr. Noah hunted everywhere, but when the evening came, the wooden tiger was still free. "Oh dear," said Tiptoe to Jolly. "It's a great pity. We've got to go and visit Mrs. Buttercup the cow tonight. She hasn't been very well, and I promised to go and sit with her for a little while. I do hope we don't meet the tiger." "I will look after you," said Jolly bravely, though he didn't very much like tigers himself. At 8 o'clock, when it was dark, the 2 dolls set out over the hill to visit Mrs. Buttercup. She was lying in her shed, looking rather pale, because she had eaten something that wasn't good for cows. She was very pleased to see them. They told her all about the tiger, and she listened eagerly. "What a piece of news," she said. And then rather a worried look came over her nice wooden face. "What's the matter?" asked Tiptoe. "Well, it's a funny thing, but I felt sure I heard a kind of roaring noise not far from my shed this evening," said Mrs. Buttercup. "I hope it wasn't the tiger. Oh, please be sure to latch my door carefully when you go out, won't you?" "Oh, perhaps we'd better go now, before it gets any later," said Tiptoe in alarm. She said good night to Mrs. Buttercup, tucked her up nicely in the straw, and then she and Jolly went to the door. They opened it, shut it behind them, and latched it firmly. Now Mrs. Buttercup would be safe. Jolly had a lantern. He swung it round him to find the path. He took Tiptoe's hand, and they set off together. Now, they hadn't gone very far before Tiptoe saw 2 eyes shining in the dark out of the nearby hedge. She gave a little squeal and stopped. "What's the matter?" asked Jolly. "Look, the tiger," said Tiptoe. Jolly looked, and sure enough, in the light of the lantern, there was the striped wooden tiger, looking rather fierce. Jolly wanted to run away, but he knew he had to take care of Tiptoe, so he couldn't. He held his lantern in a trembling hand and spoke to the tiger. What are you doing there?" The tiger gave a roar and came a little way towards the dolls. Tiptoe pulled at Jolly's hand. "Run, run!" she cried. But Jolly wouldn't let her run. We must be brave," he said. So he spoke very sternly indeed to the tiger. How dare you stand there and roar at me? I shall come and pull your tail hard if you dare to roar at me again." Tiptoe was sure the tiger would fly at Jolly in a rage. But to her enormous surprise, he answered in a small and humble voice. I'm very sorry. People expect me to roar because I'm a tiger. Please don't pull my tail.
Well, I won't, if you're a good tiger and behave yourself, said Jolly. And don't glare at me like that.
I'm not glaring, said the tiger. I feel as if you were glaring at me, and it upsets me.
You wait till you get back to the Ark, said Jolly. Mr. Noah's waiting for you. My goodness, you'll be sorry for yourself. The tiger sat down and began to cry.
Could you lend me a hanky? He said to Tiptoe. I'm so very unhappy.
Tiptoe was kind-hearted, and she felt very sorry for the tiger. She forgot all about being afraid and went up to him. She dabbed his eyes with her little hanky and comforted him. It was naughty of you to run away, she said. Why did you?
Well, you see, Mr. Noah makes me walk in front of the hens and behind the donkeys, said the tiger. And the hens will keep pecking at my tail, and the donkeys will keep kicking my nose. When Mr. Noah isn't looking, of course. My nose gets so sore, and my tail is all pecked to bits. So I couldn't stand it any more, and I ran away.
Tiptoe took the lantern and looked at the tiger's tail. Oh, yes, she said. Look, Jolly, the paint's pecked away. Isn't it a shame? Oh, poor tiger.
It's so nice of you to be kind, said the tiger. You see, everyone thinks that because I am a tiger, I am fierce and savage. But I'm not. I'm a very gentle tiger. And you can't think how frightened I am of the hens and the donkeys. It's dreadful.
You come along home with us for the night, said Jolly kindly. We'll try to put things right for you in the morning. You're tired and hungry, I expect.
I am rather, said the tiger, getting up. I've never met anyone as kind as you. I'm glad you don't expect me to be fierce. Look, wouldn't you both like to ride home on my back? I'm very strong.
Well, that was a marvellous idea. The two dolls got up on the wooden tiger's back, and off they went over the hill. They met Bruiny the bear on the way, and when he lifted up his lantern to see who was coming, he dropped it in amazement to see Tiptoe and Jolly on the tiger. Then he tore home as fast as ever he could, for he felt sure that he was dreaming, and he thought he'd better go to bed and finish his dream there. Tiptoe and Jolly made the tiger a nice bed in front of the kitchen fire. He put his head down on his paws and was soon asleep, after he had eaten up a big dishful of bread and milk. The two dolls went to bed. In the morning they talked about the tiger. It would be nice to have him for a pet, said Jolly. I'd keep falling over him, said Tiptoe. He's too big. When he purrs, it almost shakes the chimneys off the roof. Then he must go back to the Ark, said Jolly firmly. The tiger cried when he heard that. But Jolly said that he would try to make things better for the tiger, only he must be good and go now, before Mr. Noah got even more worried. They got up onto the tiger's back again and rode down the hill to the town. You should have seen how everyone stared. They simply couldn't believe their eyes. Roar, tiger, roar, just for fun, begged Tiptoe. So the tiger roared, and everyone ran away at once. They thought that Tiptoe and Jolly were the bravest dolls they had ever seen in their lives. Mr. Noah was most surprised to see his tiger coming back again. The tigress came to meet the tiger and licked him kindly. Mr. Noah, please don't scold your tiger, begged Jolly. He ran away because you made him walk in line in front of the hens and behind the donkeys. So he got his tail pecked and his nose kicked, and he was very unhappy. He's come back, and he's very sorry."
"Well, I won't scold him this time," said Mr. Noah, rather sternly. "I will tell you what I will do. I will let the tiger walk in front of the mice and behind the snakes. Then I really don't think anything can happen to his nose or his tail. What do you say to that, Tiger?" "Oh, I should like that, thank you, Mr. Noah," said the tiger joyfully. "And please, when we go for our walk, all in line, may I sometimes take Jolly and Tiptoe for a ride on my back? You can't think how kind they've been to me."
"Very well," said Mr. Noah. Then Jolly and Tiptoe said goodbye and shook paws with the tiger. He roared a fine goodbye, and they went home. And now, every evening when they want a ride, the two dolls go to the Noah's Ark and wait for the animals to walk out 2 by 2. And off they go for a ride on the tiger. You can't imagine how proud he is to carry them.